Okay, Hari Om, Sri Gurubhyo Namaha, Hari Om. Om Sahana Bhavatu, Sahano Bhunaktu, Sahaviryam Karavavahe, Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vidvishavahe. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om, Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. समस्त जन कल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम् ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति 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 हरि ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः हरि ओम. Okay, so Isavasyam, what the first word means? You should cloth or envelope the whole world with Isha. The meaning of Isha means the governor, the governing factor. Gold governs all ornaments. Water governs all waves and bubbles. Waker governs all the dream world. So the material cause governs the effects. So the material cause of this world is Ishvara. So he governs it, so therefore Isha. Okay, if he governs, what is the meaning of saying you cover it, you cover the world with Isha? Because today what you have done is, Isha is there. On the top of him, you put several things. He is not seen. Remove that, see him, put the other things below him. Remove other things which are obstructing his vision, put them down below him. That is the meaning. Okay. We'll see more details of that. The world is finite. What do you mean by finite? When it has boundaries, it is called finite. When anything has boundaries, it is circumscribed by space. Only when space is around it, it has boundaries. So the finite world, it's called finite because space surrounds it. Now, is space infinite? No. If it is infinite, you cannot miss it. In sleep, when the mind is not there, space is not experienced. Space is experienced only when the mind is in operation. Therefore, it comes and goes with mind. Hence, it is not infinite, meaning which is there at all times. Your existence, it doesn't disappear. Consciousness doesn't disappear. Even in sleep, you experience consciousness. Therefore, that is infinite. What comes and goes is not infinite. Space comes and goes. Therefore, it is not infinite. So, now, finite world is surrounded by space, which is also finite. So where does that finite stay? Finite has to stay somewhere, because you say space is finite means space is surrounded by something else. Finite world is surrounded by space. Space is surrounded by something else. What is that? This you cannot know by your own self. Why? You can only know things perceived by senses. Things perceived by senses are all products of time and space. Since that which surrounds space has to be different from space, you cannot know through the senses. What cannot be known through the senses cannot be known through the mind or intellect also. Please, for my sake, take proper notes. Gurudev is in a great mood and talking to you step by step. Be grateful to him and listen very carefully. So, finite world has space as the boundary. Space has something as boundary which we cannot know because it's beyond the senses. That which is beyond the senses is beyond the mind and intellect because it is perceptions of the senses that create the mind and mind creates the intellect. Like that it goes on. So, this cannot be known by your own effort. How will it be known? Somebody who is in that state, who has experienced that state, has to tell you. Who is that who has experienced the state? What is that? Greater than space. So, biggest, no limitations. That is called Brahma. Who has to tell you? Who has experienced that? Brahma Jnani. Brahma Jnani, who has experienced and can communicate his experience to you, is called Guru. That Guru says all finite world comes from the infinite. Infinite is existence, life. This infinite existence and life, there cannot be any problems in that. Because problems come when there is a change. Change comes where is time and space. Infinite is beyond time and space, therefore no change, therefore no problems. Therefore no problems. Hence, this infinite self has none of our worries, tragedies, need to contact Monica, no problem. This infinite self. If the infinite self is the origin of the finite world, now when the finite world has come from the infinite self, the infinite, there is a hole in the infinite because something has come out of it. If from the infinite the world has come, there is a hole in the infinite. It cannot happen because from the infinite the world to come, there should be space there. Who created that space? Where from that space has come? Where from that space has come? Okay. So, nothing can come from infinite. It cannot have a hole. And therefore you call it holy. The infinite cannot give place to something to come out of it because there is no space. Then what about the world that we see? It is only an appearance in the infinite. What about the dream world? Who created it? The infinite consciousness has created the dream world. Now, does the dream world exist? If it exists, that money should be useful. If it doesn't exist, you won't experience. The finite world you are experiencing. Therefore, you cannot say unreal. If it is real, it should be there all the time. On gaining knowledge, you find it is only name and form, its real essence is existence. Therefore, the world cannot be said to exist or does not exist like the dream world. Why this confusion? You should say it exists or doesn't exist. That is because the world is a combination of existence and name and form. Existence plus an appearance, name and form. Dream world is the waker plus the forms, the mind. Waves and bubbles, water plus a form. So wherever there is an appearance, there is nothing but truth. Truth appearing to be different. Wherever there is an appearance, finite world, it cannot be different from truth. Truth alone appears as the world. Because you don't see the truth, like you don't see the rope, you see the snake. You don't see the post, you see the ghost or a husband. Okay. When you don't see the post, you see a person, human being, in that, a husband or wife, according to your temperament. Okay. So, what you see as apparent and not real is supported by either a post or a rope or the waker. Hello? Hello? Hello?
You continue, uncle. There was a disturbance.
Continue, uncle.
Okay, shall I continue?
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Okay. So, the ghost is supported by the real post. The apparent ghost is supported by the real post. The apparent snake is supported by the real rope. The apparent dreamer is supported by the real waker. The apparent wave and bubble is supported by the real water. Okay. See the water, you don't experience the birth and death of the wave. See the rope, you don't suffer the agony or fear of the snake. See the post, you will not be frightened by the ghost. See the waker, you will not be tasked of the various experiences of opposite nature of the dream. What is the solution? The world, the combination of real and apparent name and form should, through detaching from the name and form, see the real support, real governor, Isa. Isa. The dreamer is pervaded by the waker. Waves are pervaded by water. Snake is pervaded by rope. Dismiss the snake through jnana. Cover the snake with the rope. Dismiss the ghost through jnana. Cover the ghost with the post. Dismiss the dreamer through jnana. Cover the dreamer through the waker. This is called Ishavasya, covering the whole world of names and forms from the governing factor, Isha, the law. So in this, what happened? You renounced the apparent and discovered the truth. And truth being changeless is security, happiness. That alone you can enjoy. Other enjoyments only lead you to sorrow. Other enjoyments lead you to sorrow. So second life. Ishavasya Midagam Sarvam. The whole world of names and forms, moving, not moving, should be covered by Isha, the governing factor, the material cause, the consciousness, the existence. How will you cover it? By renouncing the name and form. Tena tektena. What happens then? Bunjita, you will enjoy that state of the consciousness. After that, you are the master, you are the Lord, you don't need anything. So therefore, unnecessarily don't agitate yourself by comparing with others' wealth, what you don't have, what they have. Come on, the whole thing is a bluff. What is there to compare? You are the Raja. You alone are appearing as the different world. Know this. Do not covet others' wealth. Be peaceful. Be happy. Wealth does not mean money alone. Somebody, he knows the whole four Vedas by heart. Somebody, knows all the three Bhashya, Shankara, Ramanuja, Madhva. Somebody, he knows the Vartikas, Siddhi Granthas, all that he knows. He can speak Sanskrit from back to front, front to back. All this is wealth. You don't need that. You don't need anything of this world. You don't need even God with a form. You don't need God with a form. God with a form is supported by the formless God. The God with a form should be covered by the godless form. Nothing in this world you need. You don't need anybody's recognition. Somebody tells you the truth, Hemu is a fraud. Don't worry, it can be, so what? They have a right to say the truth. Why are you worried? And if
Reset, Harsha.
Yeah.
Yes.
Stop the recording.
Yes, uncle.
my video is not coming.
Uncle, we can see you.
Uncle, we can see, uncle.
Okay, that's enough. You can see me there.
Yes, uncle. Yes.
That is enough. I will see the self.
Krishna.
Okay, Narayana. So, you don't need anything from this world. You do not need anybody's certificate for you. You do not need comfort. You do not mind pain. Do not mind insult. Do not mind agitations, fear. Let them be there. That is called covering the not self with the self and the throwing of your identity with the not self. Throw off what is not you. Enjoy your status. Don't compare with others. When this is told, you are likely, okay, keep quiet. Mom, my microphone is muted from this world. Enjoy. Renounce the world. People may feel, then I don't have to work. I'll keep quiet. No, sir. You can keep quiet. You don't have to work when you are established in that cell. If you are not established in that cell, to come to that, you have to prepare your instruments to reach that state. The way to prepare your instruments is through work. Through work, You bring out the garbage in you, and if you do it in the right attitude, you will not collect new garbage. That instrument becomes fit for contemplation and experience this sense. Therefore, you have to act. These are the two methods all the time available to man. One is called Nivritti Marga, path of contemplation. Another is called Pravritti Marga, path of action. Veda contains both rituals and Upanishads. That is why Gita, 3rd chapter says, Dvivida Nishtha, twofold path. Path is one, but it is twofold. Cleanse the personality with action, experience the self in contemplation. Cleanse the personality with action, experience it with contemplation. So these two paths, pravritti, nivritti, have been there all the time. That is why, because both are applicable, the person has to know whether he is fit for pravritti or nivritti. That is why, before the marriage, they send him to Kashi Yatra. Because he can see if he is fit for contemplation, then he doesn't have to come to Pandal. He goes to the ashram, Sandipani, and disturbs everybody. So, you are given the choice, come to the Pandal or get out. Because pravritti or nivritti marga, both options are there. You have to choose according to your position. Other than these two, whiling away your life, wasting your life, you are groping in darkness. You are creating hell for you. Because ignorance is not bliss. Ignorance is not bliss. You got snake bite, you didn't know. It's not bliss. Yeah, it is bliss because you will not be living. So, this person who neither practices pravritti or nivritti is in dark worlds. Asurya nama loka. This much have been said. Now, he takes back, he takes the topic which he left, Jnana Marga, where you have to recognize the self and renounce the forms. That is called dhyana. Negation and assertion. Vairagya and abhyasa. Negation of the false, assertion of the real. Vairagya and abhyasa. That he is taking. This is called meditation. This is called contemplation. Meditation, many people think sitting, closing the eyes, thinking of what all you are missing. That is meditation. Yes, it starts with that, nothing wrong in that. Because initially, mark my word, initially, you can't contemplate running. Initially, you can't contemplate running or walking fast. Lalita alone does it. Walking fast, he is able to contemplate. Okay. So, you can't do that. So, you have to sit quietly. And then you should not shake. Calm, sit in a stable position. Think. Straight away, you cannot think. Bring the mind to quietude. Therefore, do japa. Sit quiet, sit in a stable position, do japa, quieten the mind, then take some statement Guru has said or Upanishad, contemplate on that. That is contemplation, that is meditation, where you bring the head and the heart together. When the head and the heart are together, You find the answers from your own self. That's called intuition. Many people don't find, either because they are completely head-oriented, headstrong, or totally emotional. No. There has to be a balance. With that balance, bringing your passion where the reason is inquiring is called integration of the head and the heart, which gives you the intuitive experience. This alone is called contemplation or the real meditation. After you practice for some time, with every thought you can feel the consciousness. That is called Sahaja Samadhi. You may see the world, but you see God only everywhere. You will see the world, but you will see all names and forms as God only. Because everything is existence. Everything is consciousness. You have that intuitive understanding. And the open eye meditation. Your eyes are open, you are transacting, but you see only God. This is called Sahaja Samadhi, natural Samadhi, ultimate Samadhi. Sitting and concentrating is good to begin with, but there people think Samadhi means no thoughts. No thoughts is not Samadhi, even if you experience blankness of the mind, because the mind is dormant like in sleep. The mind is not eliminated. It is only dormant. Mano laya. Laya means dormant. Not mano nasa, extinguishing the mind. Mind can be extinguished by right knowledge, discarding all false things, changing your values, holding on to the real. This is the real contemplation, which you analyze through the words of the Guru, through words of the scripture, that will take you to the real quietude, which supports both peace and agitation of the mind. This quietude, peace will come, you are indifferent. Agitation will come, you are indifferent. You are staying in that state, the peace that passeth all understanding. The peace that passeth all understanding. That is the state. This is called Sahaja Samadhi. So that contemplation is being taken up in Ishavasya Upanishad in the next 4 verses. Contemplation, right? Please contemplate on Yaraya. Kindly contemplate on Yaraya. What will you contemplate? You don't know him. You don't know whether he is a human being or a stone or anything. How will you contemplate? You cannot contemplate on something unknown, but known things are finite. Infinite is unknown. You can't contemplate on the unknown infinite, nor the finite world can produce. But the finite world can lead you there. Can lead you there. There is a name board of your street. There is a name board of your street. Right? The name board doesn't take to your house. But without the name board, you cannot reach the house. You do not know which street, which number. The name board is static. It cannot take you to the house. But without it, you cannot go. The name board points out the house and street. Through that pointer, you reach the pointer To reach the pointed to the pointer, you have to renounce the pointer. Staying at the name board, you will not come. So, the kindly masters, the mother's Shruti, uses a technique of giving some pointers through words and terms known to us, trying to indicate the unknown reality, pointing out, and you march towards those pointers, you will reach the pointed, drop the pointers, drop the pointers, thus indicating the unknown through the known is called indicative definitions. Tatastha Lakshana. Lakshana is that which shows. Tatastha Lakshana. That's indicative. Why it's called Tatastha? The Guru is on the other shore of liberation. The student is on the other shore of bondage. The Guru guides him slowly, step by step, and the student reaches. Therefore, Tata means shore, bank. Tatastha, Guru stays there and guides the student. So Tatastha Lakshana. The other Lakshana is Swarupa Lakshana. Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. These are direct definitions. These are direct definitions. Indicative definitions, descriptive definitions. They are descriptive definitions. They are called Swarupa Lakshana. On further inquiry, you will find Swarupa Lakshana is relatively indicative only, because when you say Satyam Jnanam Anantam, when you are talking of Satyam, you are talking Satyam with reference to Asatyam. You are talking Jnanam with reference to Ajnanam. Therefore, it is also with reference to something known, and hence it is also Tatastha. But temporarily it serves the purpose. Many things are like that. What is dirt on your body? Any foreign element is called dirt. Soap is foreign element or not? It is foreign element. To remove this foreign element, you put that soap, the foreign element, soap together with the dirt cleanses you, both leave. Similarly, these pointers, these Tatastha Lakshanas, these meditative formulae, gathering your Ajnana, will leave you pure. Will leave you pure. So this is contemplation. This is the real meditation, not sitting, concentrating, and bringing the mind to quietitude. Okay, this much introduction is more than enough. You have to reflect. Now I take the verses, the 4 verses here, verse 4 to 8, which are using both the methods of Swarupa Lakshana and Tatastha Lakshana. Descriptive definitions and indicative definitions. Both are used. So let us go through those verses. See, my talk is no substitute for Gurudev's commentary. It is vast and beautiful. Please read Gurudev's commentary 3-4 times. Try to digest, because the Sarvatma Bhava, seeing Ishvara everywhere, is a topic by itself, for which I need 3 hours. Seeing Isha everywhere, Sarvatma Bhava. I am skipping it because next week I want to finish this. So, but Gurudev has beautifully explained. So please read Gurudev's commentary 3 to 4 times. And before you read, before you even listen to me, invoke that God, Gurudev, into your heart. Believe me, he is a living presence. Without his grace, you cannot understand. Okay, let me now explain. Verse number 4. Anejadekam manaso diviyu nainad deva apniyan purvamashat tadbhavato anyat tadbhavato anyam atyeti tishthat tasmin apo matarishva dati tasmin akaha matarishva. And it is fast. How can something that doesn't move can be faster? Right? Now, mind goes to America. Mind goes to America. This self is existence. Did the mind go to the existing America or the non-existing America? Mind went there to the existing America. Existence itself is consciousness. Therefore, it was there even before the mind reached there. Therefore, it is faster than the mind. Same thing is consciousness. It's faster than the mind. It is there everywhere. So the whole purpose of these statements is to recognize the all-pervasiveness of that truth, which is Ekam, one. Na yena deva devaha apnuvan. Apnuvan devaha. They cannot overtake. Who? The devas cannot overtake the self, this consciousness. Why? Purva Marshat, it ran before them. It ran before them. You are seeing the moon. You cannot see the moon without your consciousness enveloping the moon. You cannot think of America without your awareness enveloping America. These perceptions, the faculties with which you are able to perceive that particular element of cognition in each sense organ, form in the eyes, sound in the ears, taste in the tongue, smell in the nose, touch in the skin. They are called devas. These devas, because they illumine. Deva means one who illumines. Yotana devaha, one who illumines. Na yenat devaha apnuvan. These sense organs cannot overtake that self because wherever they reach, the consciousness is there already. Not only that, it is because of the consciousness they are seeing. Without the consciousness, they cannot see. How can they overtake? It's all the time with them and beyond them. All the time with them and beyond them. Therefore, they cannot overtake. Tadbhavataha anyan atyeti tishtati. Another contradictory statement. Sitting, it overtakes all others which have run. Sitting, it overtakes all things that run. Let us forget consciousness existence. Now, take relatively different example. You are running in space. Wherever you are running, space is already gone there. The space doesn't move. Space doesn't move. You are running in space. It has overtaken you. If this is the case with space, which relatively is finite, what about existence? It runs before you without itself moving. Consciousness does not move, but is the essence of all movement, because of which all movement takes place. There is one more lovely statement I have come across. You may think it is irrelevant. It is relevant because consciousness and love are not two different things. Somebody great man said, love itself has no movement, but it is behind all the movements. That is the source, cause of all movement. Love has no movement, but it makes all movement possible. Similarly, consciousness. Okay. Tasmin napo matarishva dadati. This existence consciousness alone supports all the finite world. The finite world is made up of the 5 elements. From Brahman comes the Maya. Maya is his power. Nothing is not different. He taps his power. Gold taps the power to bring out the earring and bangle. The power is not different from gold. Wave is not different from water. The power of water to create the wave is not different from water. The power to create the dream world is not different from the waker. Therefore, Maya is not different from Brahman. Sunlight is not different from sun. God is not different from Maya. When it operates, the power with which he operates is called Maya. The power with which he operates is called Maya. From this Maya, he brings out space, because any creation is through boundaries. Without boundary, there cannot be a creation. If boundaries are needed, space is needed. First thing is space. From space comes air. From air comes fire. From fire comes water. When you run, heat is generated, you sweat. From fire comes water. From water comes air. So all the 5 elements had their origin in space. Space had the origin in Maya. Maya is nothing but Brahman. So the elements are also nothing but Brahman. They are also Brahman with a name and a form. So the elements, Brahman supports the element. This helps you to see that Brahman in all elements, everywhere. This is elementary knowledge. See the Brahman in names and forms. Brahman has 2 forms. Brihadaranyaka Upanishad says, Murtam cha, Amurtam cha. He is the form and he is the formless. He is the form and he is the formless. Both are himself. So this world of names and forms, he supports. For that, he just took 2 elements. Matarishwa, air. Apaha, water. Air supports water because water comes from air. Air is supported by space. Space is supported by Maya. Maya is supported by God. Okay. So now all this is one. You don't see one, what will happen? You will suffer, change causes fear. You know, most of us suffer not because of agitations, sorrow. Sorrow we suffer for a limited period. But our constant friend which never leaves us is fear. Our constant friend which never leaves us is fear. This fear is there because you see something other than you. When you see something other than you, fear natural because you are insecure. When you see yourself everywhere, there is no fear. There is no fear at all. Right? So that is the need to see Isha everywhere so that there is no fear. The mind is peaceful, happy, secure, no death. If you see something other than the self, it has boundaries subject to death, and there is insecurity subject to sorrow, agitations, and fear. So, in and through all the seen world, see the substratum. That is the message on that particular mantra. Now he is going to take the next two mantras. Next two mantras he is going to take to show the Sarvatma Bhava and how it helps you. Before that, I just want to tell you how these emotions, negative emotions of sorrow, fear come, how they will go. You know, many of these difficult concepts of Vedanta, many of these difficult concepts of Vedanta are explained in a simpler and beautiful way in Bhagavatam. This, what I'm going to say, are in Upanishads, Taittiriya Upanishad, Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. But there, they are fragmented. One statement here, another statement there, you have to add. Bhagavatam puts them all in a nutshell and gives you beautiful. It says, Atmanascha parasyapi yah karoti antara udaram tasya bhinna drushu mrityuhu. Simple Sanskrit also. Atmanascha, one's own self, parasyapi yah karoti. He makes another from this Atman. Antaraha, in the gap, udaraha, little gap also he creates. Udaraha, antaraha, tasya, of him, bhinna drushaha, man who sees duality, mrityuhu, death. Vidade, bhayam, ulbanam, plus mrityuhu vidade. He is endowed with mrityu and bhayam ulbanam. Ulbanam, powerful fear. Powerful fear. Therefore, what you should do? Atha, therefore, mam, me, means Bhagavan, sarva bhuteshu, in all beings, bhutatmanam, the very essence of all elements, krutalayam, ahaye, ahaye dana manabhyam, maikya, abhinnameva chiktusha. Therefore, see me in all beings and give enough for all and maintain friendship with all. See all, me in all. Share what you have with all. Maintain friendship with all. This is what Bhagavata says. What Upanishad says, Taittiriya, yadahi yesha yetasmin udaram antaram kurute. When anybody creates a small difference in this Atman, ata tasya bhayam bhavati. He is subject to fear. Who is subject to fear? Because of him, because of this self, bhinna dvataha pavate. Because of the fear of this self, the consciousness, the God, wind blows. Bhinna udeti suryaha. Because of this consciousness, God principle, sun rises. Bhinna dasmad agnihi. Because of this conscious principle, fire burns. Indrascha, Indra, mind, devatas, work. Mrityuhu davati panchamam. From this man, the fifth state, that is, the four states are childhood, youth, old age, So childhood, youth, middle age, middle age, and old age. Fifth is death, or brahmacharya, grihastha, vanaprastha, sannyasa. Four. Fifth is death, mrityu. There, the death of the ego. Here, death of the ego is not mentioned. For a person who has this knowledge of the oneness, for him, from him, everything is frightened. Everything works because of him. Mrityu, death itself is frightened and runs away from this fellow. Abhayam Brahma, this Brahman, this biggest, this glorious self, Abhayam fearless. Therefore, see the one in all. Ishavasya Upanishad. So now that is said in the next two verses, tad ejati, tad naijati, tad dure, tad antike, tad ejati, that moves, tad naijati, that moves not. We have already said, space moves when carried through a cup. You take the cup, space goes with the cup. But really space doesn't go. Cup moves in space. Space doesn't move, but appears to move conditioned by the cup. Consciousness doesn't move, but when it is seen through the mind and the senses, it appears to move. Use it in the train, you don't move, train moves, and you appears to be moving. The unconditioned seeing through the moving conditionings, it appears to move. Therefore, tad ejati, tad na ejati, tad dure, it is at the farthest place, America. Tad antike, nearest to you is the self. Nothing is nearer than that. Nothing is nearer than the self. Tad antarasya sarvasya, it is inside, outside, everywhere. Tadu sarvasya bhakyataha. It is inside, it is outside, nothing beyond that. When you see this one truth everywhere, what happens? Yastu sarvani bhutani atmane eva pashyati sarva bhuteshu cha atmanam tato na vijugutsate yaha tu, whoever he be, sarvani bhutani, all beings, atmane eva pashyati, sees in himself, sarva bhuteshu cha atmanam, sees himself in all beings, tato na vijugutsate, he is not afraid of anything. There is no repulsion in him. He does not shriek. He has no fear. He has gone beyond all negative emotions. Why? There is only one. He sees himself in all. He sees all in himself. He is not scared of anything. There is no repulsion. Shrinks. Vijikutta shrinks. Means frightened. He is not frightened. Same thing is put in positive terms in the next verse. This is put in negative terms. The next one, positive. Yasmin sarvani bhutani atmaiva bhut vijanataha tatra ko mohaha kashokaha ekatvam anupashyataha. Where one sees himself everywhere, where is delusion? Delusion comes because you see things different. See only one, where is delusion? Kah mohaha kashokaha. And grief comes out of delusion. Swamiji, beautiful sentence is there in the book. Grief is the language of delusion. Grief is the language of delusion. Standing example, our Arjuna. Through delusion, he sees individualities and therefore overpowered by shoka. Grief is the language of delusion. And where you see only one, where is delusion? If there is no delusion, where is sorrow? Ekatvam anupashyataha. Seeing the one, there is no sorrow, there is no delusion. Okay. Now, I want more tips to see this one. Some more tips I want, not enough. You have now just talked generally, but you are not really given the pointers for contemplation. You have only talked generally. But I need tips for contemplation. That he says. Next Sunday is a auspicious day. I will give you. Bhagavan says that. So next Sunday you will get. Okay. We'll see. I can finish next Sunday, or I need one more class. I think. Let us see what Bhagavan does. Okay. Now, Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.